Have you ever felt like you're being watched? This was the eerie sensation that began to creep upon Emily, a resident of the small, quiet town of Ravens Hollow. The town, where shadows clung to the edges of the streets like sinister whispers, was a place where the ordinary met the uncanny. Emily, oblivious to the looming danger, was living an unassuming life, until strange occurrences started to shroud her existence. Whispers in the wind, chilling drafts that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand on end, began to punctuate her days. As nights fell, these unsettling signs intensified, and Emily started to notice something even more disquieting. A figure, mysterious and elusive, seemed to linger in the periphery of her vision. It was as if an unseen predator was stalking her, silently, patiently. A shadow, shapeless and indistinct, always just beyond her line of sight. One fateful night, Emily decided to take a shortcut through the darkened alleyways on her way home. The lone sound of her footsteps echoed off the narrow walls, each echo a chilling reminder of her solitude. Overhead, the flickering streetlights cast an eerie glow, their sporadic illumination painting a grim portrait of the quiet town of Ravens Hollow. Yet, within these shadows, a sinister figure skulked, shrouded in darkness. This unseen predator, like a specter, trailed Emily's every step, its presence an insidious whisper in the back of her mind. Emily quickened her pace, and in response, so did the ominous figure. A chilling draft, colder than the winter's night, swept through the narrow alley, sending a shudder down her spine. The deafening silence was broken by the distant howl of a lone wolf. Each echo seemed to whisper a warning, a haunting lullaby that twisted the air around her. Panic set in as Emily realized that she was not alone in that desolate alley. Summoning the last reserves of courage, Emily turned sharply into a dimly lit street, hoping to shake off her pursuer. The narrow, serpentine path ahead was a labyrinth of shadows, each corner a potential trap. Her heart pounded in her chest like a wild drum, each beat echoing the urgency of her flight. A gust of wind swept through the alley, an icy shroud that made her shiver. The flickering streetlight overhead, her only beacon in this maze of darkness, suddenly flickered and died out. The alley was plunged into an abyss of darkness, the perfect hunting ground for the unseen predator. The sudden blackout was a jolt of terror, a dreadful realization that the malevolent entity was closing in. Emily's breath hitched, a gasp swallowed by the enveloping darkness. But fear, that paralyzing specter, would not claim her, not tonight. Adrenaline surged through her veins, a potent cocktail of terror and determination. Her legs moved of their own accord, propelling her forward with a speed she didn't know she possessed. The cobblestones beneath her feet seemed to tremble with the rhythm of her desperate sprint. The world around her blurred, the darkness punctuated only by the distant glow of the main street. It was a beacon of safety, a lighthouse guiding her through the stormy sea of fear. Emily could hear her own footsteps echoing off the narrow walls, a desperate plea carried on the wind. Adrenaline pumping through her veins, she sprinted toward the main street, her footsteps echoing like a desperate plea. Just as she reached the safety of the well-lit thoroughfare, the Stalker emerged from the shadows, a grotesque silhouette against the inky blackness. The figure was a monstrous apparition, an embodiment of dread that seemed to absorb the meager light, leaving behind only a chilling emptiness. Emily's heart pounded like a war drum in her chest, echoing her terror. Suddenly, the tranquility of the night was shattered by the shrill sound of a police siren. A beacon of hope, a nearby officer was alerted by Emily's scream. He rushed towards her, his face etched with determination, his badge glinting under the harsh glow of the streetlights. As the officer approached, the stalker recoiled as if the light itself was an anathema. With a startling agility, the figure retreated, disappearing into the labyrinthine alleyways from whence it came. The officer gave chase, his footsteps echoing in the silent night, but the mysterious figure had vanished, leaving behind nothing but a chilling sense of unease. Emily, overwhelmed by a whirlwind of emotions, found solace in the comforting presence of the officer. She was safe, at least for now. But the town of Ravens Hollow was left with a lingering fear, a sinister shadow cast over its once peaceful streets. Who or what was the shadow that pursued Emily through the twisted labyrinth of Ravens Hollow, and when would it return? As Emily grappled with this haunting question, the town held its breath, waiting for the night to reveal its secrets.